program tonight, this evening, I'm going to focus in on what I would call the true state of the union, based upon the spiritual concepts of the Bible and based upon what the Bible shows us and tells us takes place in the spiritual realm, the truth of what is happening and where it first originates, in the spirit realm. We wrestle not against flesh and blood, though it is flesh and blood that pulls the trigger, and we do have to tend to them. But the first and the primary cause of the trouble in the fight is the prince of the power of the air, and it is wickedness in high places. As we talk about the true state of this union, the true state of which America is in, there are several things for us to look at and for us to understand. First and foremost, we have to understand that we are at a war with wickedness, at a war with evil, and at a war with the abominations. I've shared with you many times the 4 degrees of sin. America was and is, as is the case with the whole world, America was always and has always and will always be filled with sinners. George Jones one time sung a song that said the only thing really different between a sinner and a saint is that one is saved and the other one ain't. There's some truth into that. We all have a sin nature, no question about that. But the sin nature of man can be tempered. The sin nature of man can be lessened with its aggressiveness and even its desires. We all have the potentials, but it can be lessened. That's why we look back over a course of time where America was extremely safe, where our streets were safe, where the people of America was safe, where it was good and it was simple. America is much more unsafe today than it's ever been. America is much more deadly than it's ever been. America is much more filthy morally than it's ever been. And it is because sin has now been fed. And the sin nature, as I said, that can be tempered down, now that the sin nature is being fed by powerful forces that are all in lockstep with Satan. It's fed by a government. When the wicked bear rule, the people shall mourn. Government has a way of feeding sin. Hollywood, the schools, the colleges, feeding sin. So sin no longer becomes a thing that's tempered down, but now it is being fed, and its natural inclinations then take hold, and it evolves or grows from a simple sinner into an evil sinner, because the sin nature, instead of being tempered down, has now been fed, and now the sinner becomes an evil sinner. From that stage, the evil sinner is fed, and the evil sinner then becomes the wicked sinner. That stage, the wicked sinner is fed, and he becomes the abominable sinner. The nation is gone then. The world is gone then. You're in the days of Noah and worldwide catastrophe on the way. When I say that we are at a war with evil, and we're at war with evil and wickedness, that's what I'm talking about. Not as though the war has never been, but the feeding of sin will grow into evil, that to wickedness, and that to abomination. And we have seen now all 4 stages fed, and the dog is very, very strong. So, America now is filled with lies and liars. Slanderous workers who attempt to destroy, which is a form of murder. Slander is a form of murder. Slander is to destroy a human being's name, to kill it. It is to kill a human being's name that you don't like. It is to kill that person's influence that you don't like. It's to kill his position. It is to kill his reputation. It is an act literally of murder. And the slanderer is the first name given in the Bible to the devil. So it is the purely bona fide work of Satan himself. And we're seeing slander now take place all over this country in such an evil way, such as America has never known. This slander is primarily coming from one group of people. We see them, we watch them, we listen to them, we know them, and something will have to be done about them. I'm talking about these individuals which call themselves by many names. We don't know their true names, John, Luke, David, Sarah, whoever, we don't know their names. We know them by liberals. We know them by the names they give themselves, progressives. We know them by the names that they give themselves, socialist. We know them by the name, communist. We know them by the name, Democrat. And we are seeing, it's not a matter of opinion. I've shown it to you over and over and over, and got 100,000 more things that we could show you. These people are slanderous, evil workers that intend to murder and to kill. Because what they want to do is they want to shake this whole nation. They want to not just shake it, they want to overturn it. They are now in, or have been in, the places of power. There's been, and I fully believe, a coup d'etat set in motion. That simply means that there are smaller organizations that are now effectively in full mode attempt to overthrow the United States government and take control of this nation, wiping out its Constitution. One of the people behind this, I believe, coup is Barack Obama. He's housed now in Washington. He has fenced his place in. People from his administration has moved in his house. And he is fully organized and organizing much of the rebellion with others as well that you see taking place against the American president. Now, I'm all for giving somebody an opportunity to prove what they're going to be and prove what they're not going to be. If the first 50 days is any sign of Donald Trump's presidency, America has some very good things to look forward to, because he has done some very wonderful things already and brought many millions of dollars already in 50 days back to this country. I don't mean he can't go off the wire somewhere down the road. We will see. But he, as we said about Barack Obama, has the right to at least have the time to establish who he is and what he is and what his intentions are. So far, they seem to be very good and constructive for America and its inner cities. But we have attacks against him. Hypocrites. Hypocrites who accuse him of things they have no evidence of which things they themselves has done and in fact are on tape and video doing. Hypocrites of the highest degree and of the highest order. Look at this passage of Scripture, and I'm reading it in pieces, but it tells exactly the spirit that was during the days of King David. That exact spirit is present with us today, manifesting itself toward Donald Trump. The words are perfectly, that David said, those words are perfectly applied. And again, I'm not defending any political order. I'm seeing an injustice and a wrong done to a man and his family that is national abuse, period. Look at what David said. Same spirit. This is a thing. The same spirits that occupied the earth during the days of Noah, David, Jeremiah, are the same spirits that occupy the world today. That's why human nature don't change. We are either of God and we do according to His principles, or we're of the devil and we do what the devil does. And it's very clear and very simple to know who's doing what and which one is of God and which one is of the devil. Look at this passage of Scripture. This is in Proverbs 35, 11 through 16. But now remember, I've pieced the scriptures together, not changing the passages, but just taking the pertinent passages and putting them here. Listen to it. False witnesses did rise up. They laid to my charge things I knew not. The abjects gathered themselves together against me. With hypocritical mockers in feast, they gnashed upon me with their teeth. The Bible telling us that the wicked gnasheth upon the righteousness with their teeth. Here's a case whereby nothing but lies and slanders are being told, and the gnashing of the teeth. The wicked. The wicked simply want to devour anyone that is good. What can the wicked find wrong, or what can anyone, let's put it this way, what can anyone find wrong with someone who wants to bring jobs back to your community or your nation that is your community? How in the world could you chew your teeth over a man wanting to secure your property, to know who is entering in your house? How could you find anything wrong with that? To gnaw and chew your teeth over. Except you be wicked. There's more at stake here. These people are not after Donald Trump because he's doing anything wicked or defiled. What he's calling for is common sense. What he is doing is common sense. What he is doing is bringing money and jobs back to this country. Who could hate that except those who did not want America to rebuild because they wanted America to crumble, collapse, and fall because they had their agenda in subversion to conquer and destroy this nation. And that was, I fully believe, the desire of the Muslim that you put in office for more than 8 years. This man meant nothing but harm to this nation, and his intentions has not been calmed yet. He is working now on the outside to destroy this country, he and others with him. No two ways about it. What we are seeing is clear and plainly manifested for all to know, for all to see. We are in a battle. We are in a war. This is not just dealing with sinners and preaching the gospel. The sinner has been fed to become evil. Fed then to become wicked, fed then to become an abomination, where now they gnash upon anything that is good with their teeth. They gnash upon anything that is righteous with their teeth because they are fully wicked. And that is clear. Snoop Doggy Dogg, the one who has blessed young blacks and whites in the inner city with his filthy, four-letter filth, dope-smoking promotion of drugs, and his filthy lyrics, just put out a new video where he shows Donald Trump dressed in a clown suit. And guess what the Snoop does? Puts a gun to his head and pulls the trigger. Why is this man not arrested for inciting, not riots? Why is he not in jail right now for inciting murder? Can you imagine if I would have did a video while Barack Obama was the president of me putting a gun to his head and pulling the trigger? Can you imagine what would have happened? Number one thing is crystal clear. The media, ABC, CNN, and all the rest of them, would have played that 24 hours a day around the clock. How in the world does a man make a video, a well-known celebrity make a video with a gun pointed at the head of the likeness of a president of the United States and pull that trigger, and him not be in jail right now for inciting murder. The problem is this, is in the areas and in the viewership and those of which follows this celebrity, there are sinners, of course. But as it is in all cases, within his groups are sinners that has a natural tendency toward violence. You see, children are born not homosexuals. No proof or evidence has ever been produced of that. But there are children that's born with a more likely potential to go into that area. As parents, you see it, you work with it, and you do your dead level best to work it out of them. Likewise, there are others who's prone to violence, and you have to keep it tempered down, or they will hurt somebody. Within those in the community of which this rapster is famous, there are people with violent tendencies, and some of them does not have a sound mind. He has just encouraged somebody to pull the trigger, to be like their idol, the Snoop, and to pull the trigger on the President of the United States. And he still walks the streets and still making his millions. The wicked gnasheth upon the righteous with their teeth. I showed you this wicked one last week, chewing her tongue because a man said he wanted to protect our borders. This is not over policy. This tongue chewing, this gnashing of the teeth, is not over policy. It's over the threat of someone who is messing up a coup d'etat. Someone who is messing up the overthrow, their plans to overthrow this country. No question in my mind. The reason why they knew and fought for Hillary Clinton to become the president was because one more 4-year term of Barack Obama under Hillary Clinton would have finished the coup d'etat, and the nation would have been overcome, as Barack Obama had fired more than 90 generals. Anything and everything in the military that disagreed with him and his agenda, he got rid of. Why you think he was doing that? Look at this woman gnash her teeth because a man simply says he wants to protect American lives. You have to keep in mind these Democrats are the ones that created the term mean-spirited. They're the ones that have pretended all these years to be the kind, loving, caring people. These are the ones who has pretended all these years that we must be tolerant and get along. This woman that you just saw gnashing her teeth at a man who simply said he wants to protect American lives and know who's coming in our house. That look of what you just saw, what you're looking at now, that is not the look of disagreement. That's not the look of someone who doesn't necessarily believe what you're saying. That is the look right there of pure and absolute hatred. I cannot tell you that Donald Trump was put in office by God. May very well have been. I can't say he was. But I can promise you that nothing but God's going to keep him in office. And I can tell you as Christian people who believe that your prayers are heard, that you need to pray every day for Mr. Trump's life, that the attempt to kill him will backfire. And I say that because I see no reason to even pray to whether or not there will be one. There will be an attempt on his life. Therefore, let us pray that that attempt on his life will fail. Then there's Maxine Waters, high-ranking congresswoman, again, one of the love bugs of society that tells us about all the right and wrongs and how sweet we need to be and how forgiving we need to be. Until it comes to Donald Trump. And then the word that comes out of her mouth with only 50 days of his administration in office is scumbags.
This is a bunch of scumbags. That's what they are.
Those are very strong words.
President of the United States, this back channeling that you see, these are a bunch of scumbags.
Secretary of State,
you mean scumbags, scumbags, scumbags.
The wicked gnasheth upon the righteous with her teeth. Scumbags. Can you imagine what would have happened had a congressman called Barack Obama a scumbag? If a Republican would have went on live television, major news network, and straightway doubled up on it, calling Barack Obama a scumbag, what the media would have done? How inappropriate it would be? They have the right freedom of speech, you see. These hypocrites and this filth, this wickedness, they have the freedom of speech to say anything they want to say. But when it comes to you, when it comes to me, they're willing to do more than just put a gag on you. Trust me, when they get power, lock, stock, and barrel, they will shut you up the same way the communists shut their dissenters up. They'll shut you up by putting you under 6 foot of dirt. Make no mistake about it. These are evil, cruel, and mean people. Then there was Hillary Clinton doing the same thing that Harry Reid did, accusing Donald Trump of not paying his taxes. The same trick that Harry Reid, the Democrat in the Congress, pulled and lied on Mitt Romney.
Would file their tax returns, let everybody look at them. But Mitt Romney can't do that because he's basically paid no taxes in the prior 12 years.
And then he was caught in his lie. He just smiled and said, well, we won, didn't we?
So no regrets about Mitt Romney, about the Koch brothers, because some people have even called it McCarthyite.
Well, they call it whatever they want. Romney didn't win, did he?
Scumbags. I think the Congresswoman has supplied the term to the wrong group of people.
Or maybe he doesn't want the American people, all of you watching tonight, to know that he's paid nothing in federal taxes.
Donald Trump paid nothing in federal taxes. Well, someone has stole some of his tax returns and put them out. And they have broadcasted them over the news. And guess what? Mr. Trump paid $38 million worth of tax, $38 million in taxes on that tax return sheet. You know what that was more than? That was a higher percentage on him than Barack Obama pays. A higher percentage on him than even the socialist-loving, people-loving, tax-raising Bernie Sanders. $38 million Mr. Trump paid on his taxes. Just another lie and more slander. Now, I'll tell you something that is interesting. It is right here. You know what this is? Yeah. This is a birth certificate. You know whose it is? It's Barack Obama's birth certificate. Or at least you know who says that it is. This birth certificate was presented by Barack Obama's brother. And you know what the birth certificate says right here? It says he was born in Kenya. And guess what? Not even Fox News has uttered a word about it. Barack Obama's maternal grandmother said he was born in this village. The Kenyan ambassador said where he was born in this village is a well-known tourist attraction. His wife said Barack's homeland, Kenya. And now his own brother produces what he says is Barack's birth certificate. born in Kenya. Surprise, surprise, surprise. There's a coup d'etat taking place right now. The interesting thing is to whether or not it's going to take hold. Either way it goes, make no mistake about it, brothers and sisters. We got some rough road ahead of us.
I'd like to take a load off of you. Just put it on my back and I'll carry it too. You look like you could use a day or two. Get yourself some rest now, and while you do, I'll carry that load for you. Now all of these troubles are not yours alone. You my brothers and my sisters, and this is our home. Won't you take yourself a day or two and get yourself some rest now, and while you do, I'll carry that load for you. Oh, that's the way it should be. I help you and you help me. We got to live as brothers. We got to have some love one toward another. I'd like to take a load off of you. Just put it on my back and now I'll carry it too. You look like you could use a day or two. Get yourself some rest now, and while you do, I'll carry that load for you. It should be. I help you and you help me. We got to live as brothers. There got to be some love one toward another. Well, let me take that load